Hello, world people. EO here, and today I want to welcome you to the Blazin Reggae Vibes blog and podcast interview. Blazin Reggae Vibes presents Conversations with Sergeant Remo, Part 2. Sergeant Remo is a reggae artist. He was born in Juarez, New Mexico. He's now lives in San Antonio, Texas. He's a singer, songwriter, producer. Sergeant Remo is a audio and electrical engineer, and he's very skilled in woodworking. He has been known for building sound systems. He has one in San Antonio and has put on quite a few jam sessions. He's collaborated with artists here in New Mexico, Drazy Melody being one of them. He was here during a period when we had quite a few local artists putting out quality music. There was Mystic Vision, Drazy Melody, there was Mr. Kali, Brotherhood Sound System coming on strong. So, he's had quite a bit of experience here in New Mexico, and I'm very happy that we were able to get a chance to talk to him as he shares his story with us. So let's pick up on our conversation with Sergeant Remo. And before we go, Sergeant Remo's website is www.sergeantremo.com. You can check him out over there too. But let's pick up on the conversation with Sergeant Remo.
I linked up with Brotherhood Sound like way back in the day when I was living in New Mexico, because I lived in New Mexico from 2004 to 2008. And I didn't have a sound system until 3.5 years ago, until 2018. When I met Don Martin, I had just moved to New Mexico, and I was in the Navy still at the time, and I was working over there, and I was looking for reggae music, I was looking, because that's what I did, and I found Brotherhood. They were playing at Bird's Tiki Lounge on Gold Street, I believe it is. I know you remember that,
I do.
and I went and introduced myself to Don after one of the sessions, and I gave him a CD, and then he called me and stuff, and we talked, and he's like, yo, you should come sing a couple of your tunes, on this, on the next session that we have next month. So I kept coming around, and I kind of just, like unofficially, just joined the crew, for a little period of time, and I would go wherever he was playing. I would go, and that's kind of how I got to meet the whole, New Mexico reggae family, through that, and as the years progressed, we started performing a lot more. Me and Mr. Kali, and some of the other people, that were active in reggae at the time, like Mystic Vision and Drazy, and a lot of the people that were doing reggae music at that time, and it was a great experience. I'm still like thankful, for all those connections, and New Mexico was a very special place for me because I hadn't really been performing before I went to New Mexico. I had been doing a lot of recording with the crew that I was working with here in Texas, but I hadn't really performed a lot. And in New Mexico, is kind of where I get more. Well, I get a lot of experience performing. When I left New Mexico, I felt like I was a decent performer already, So New Mexico was a good place for me for that, for that great experience, and meeting so many great people,
Okay.
Yeah, man.
So I heard you say this music is timeless. You look at reggae, your style of presentation is a timeless thing.
That's my goal, that's my goal, like to make timeless music, because just like we see with with whatever is happening right now, whatever is hit right now. You know, a lot of the stuff that is popular right now, good. Yeah, man. So you know, when I see music, music comes and goes. You know, and if you've been around long enough, you kind of know, you know the patterns. You know, and you know that certain kind of music is gonna, it might be the hottest thing today,
Right.
but nobody's gonna remember it 2 3 years from now. Like nobody, you know. Or even if you hear it, you're gonna be like, oh, not again. You know, don't play that no more.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned early on that that's not the kind of music that I want to do. You know, because I know the lifespan of that kind of music, and it doesn't really interest me. You know, that hype music and all of them things. You know, that don't really interest me. You know, when you look at like, for example, if you look at the most popular albums right now, you know, on any, by any measure, you know, it's gonna be like Bob Marley. It's gonna be classics. You know, it's gonna be classic music, and there's a reason for it, because that music has a message. You know, it has a purpose. You know, and it wasn't written just to make some noise, because that what was happening at the time. You know. You know, so as you grow older, and you gain some experience in life, you realize that that kind of music feeds you. You know, it feeds your soul. You know, it gives you, when you need a certain message, you know, you can find it in that kind of music, and you don't find it in other music. You know, some other music is just serves the purpose of entertainment. One thing that the reggae music, to me, you know, is able to do is to transcends entertainment, and it's more of like an education. You know, it's more of like a spiritual, like, healing. You know, it's more of like, it could be like a counselor. You know, it could be like somebody that reassures you. You know, that we're gonna be okay. You know, that we're gonna get through some things. You know, and that to me is powerful. You know, so when I write music, I don't necessarily write it for that. You know, but I understand now that when you put yourself into the music, when you put your experiences, when you put your pains, your troubles into the music, then people really resonate with that. You know, and I'm thankful for that, because a lot of the songs that people really like of mine, you know, like, for example, like Give Thanks for Life, or you know, I'm Free. You know, like some of those songs, you know, like, I wrote them for myself. I didn't really write them for anybody. I wrote them because I was going through some difficult things in my life, and I wrote those songs because, you know, that's the way that I let go of things. You know. But then when I started getting feedback from the songs, and people reach out to me and say, I remember Give Thanks for Life specifically. One of my brethren, I hadn't talked to him for a few years, you know, and then one day he sent me a message out the blue, and he's like, Remo, it's like, I know we haven't talked, man, but I just wanted to say thank you. He's like, I've been going through some really dark moments, and that song Give Thanks for Life, you know, you really helped me, you know, get through some things, you know, and you probably don't even know this, but I just wanted you to know. And you know, and at the time I was feeling like, man, maybe I should just quit music, you know, maybe I just need to give up, you know, because, you know, I didn't feel like I was really making an impact, you know, or making, you know, any forward movements, you know, and when you get that kind of feedback, then it reassures you that that's the kind of music you need to make. You know, so when I say I want to make timeless music, it's like I want to make music like that. I want to make music that has a meaning, that has a purpose, not just entertainment. You know, I'm all for entertainment too. You know, and I have some songs that are just for that. You know, but I think we have an opportunity to do something bigger. You know, especially in a time that I feel that we need that the most. You know, so that's what I mean when I say I want to make timeless music. You know, like.
And you've got you've done a lot of recording, seems like, because I heard when you talk about I've been working on this for a while. That took a while. So it seems like you have an accumulation of music in
I've
storage.
been, yeah, I have a lot of music that hasn't been released, and I have a lot of music that probably won't get released, you know. Um, but I have released a lot of music also, you know. I think we've released like over 70 songs total, you know, through the last 10 or so years. Um, and I'm constantly working on more music, you know, because like the problems that I used back in the day where I couldn't get nobody to let me get on a rhythm, or I couldn't get nobody to produce for me or anything like that. Now I don't have those problems anymore, you know, because the rhythms keep coming, you know. So a lot of times, you know, I have too many rhythms where I'm like, man, like what am I gonna do with all this, you know? Because I don't want the music to get watered down either. But you know, I'm blessed to have a lot of music in the works.
You have your own label company.
I do, you know, the reason I started it was because of that same reason. Because we couldn't get on any labels, we couldn't get on anybody. I guess at the time we didn't have any releases, you know, so when I would approach people and say, hey man, I want to use this rhythm, you know, I have a song for it or whatever, a lot of times we just wouldn't get no responses. Or if we did get a response, it was like, nah, we're good, you know, it's like we got our artist, you know, and things like that. And so it's hard, you know, to get to get like some legitimate production, you know. So we we kind of started Jayu's Entertainment with that in mind. It was like, okay, well, if nobody's gonna open the door, then let's just make one,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I started the label with the help of my brother Yaru, who passed away a couple years ago, and we released Reggae Soldiers Worldwide Volume One, which was in 2011 when we released that, and that was the first release on the label. And like we talked about earlier, I just released the 10-year anniversary, which is Volume 4, you know, and man, it's just a journey, man, you know, because it seemed like yesterday when we were just working on that, you know, and like Mr. Kali produced some of those rhythms, and Mr. Kali was in Volume 1. You know, so we're just thankful, you know, for all of those things, you know, and all the great people, you know, that contributed through the years, you know, to the growth, you know. That's why I say it's not just me, you know, because there's been so many people, you know, through the time that have really like played a role in, you know, in the music, you know, that it'd be silly for me to think or act like I'm just here doing it on my own, you know, because that's so far from the truth, you know.
Now, have you been getting any feedback on your latest release, Reggae Soldiers Volume 4?
That's gotten probably like the most like solid response, honestly, from any of the compilation volume one or two or three. This one, and we released this one on vinyl, which I think kind of helped, you know, to give it a little bit more of a legitimacy, you know, because not everybody's releasing vinyl, you know. And we promoted it well, but I mean, this one was received really well, you know, like especially in Europe, man. We've been getting a lot of love in Europe.
They love the pictures
From
and that old school reggae. Europe really feeds off
Yeah,
of
you
that.
know, the European crew, you know, they really know reggae music, you know, for a long time. They've been part of the journey, you know, and they show a lot of love, you know. They show a lot of love, and this one has gotten a great response. You know, we got some write-ups and some features in like some of the major, you know, like magazines and like publications, you know. So yeah, man, this one really and truly is probably one of the biggest responses. Between that and that single that we released in September with Rank and Joe, Free Service, I think those two projects, you know, have really like just stepped it up. just a bit. You know what I mean? And I mean, you know, we're very proud of that. You know, some good works. Did you hear that one? Delivery service with Rankin Joe.
I don't know if
I
I've
gotta
heard
send
that
you.
one yet. I haven't heard that one yet. I gotta listen
Okay, I
to
gotta
it.
send that to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta send that to you.
All
We
right.
shot a video for that too. You know,
Okay. Okay.
that one. Yeah, you know, Rankin Joe blessed me, man, with a really nice collaboration. You know, and that one has been very successful. You know,
Now,
very proud of that release as well.
now, do you feel like your music is reaching the Latin American countries like Brazil, Costa Rica, Mexico? How are you doing with those countries?
You know, I first went down to Mexico in 2014. I went down there, and Mexico City Mexico City is like the New York City of Latin America, you know, or the LA, you know, of Latin America when it comes to music, you know, because everybody that's anybody, you know, they come to Mexico City, and that's where they either make it or they don't, you know. And when I went down there, I knew there was a reggae scene down there, but I didn't realize how big the reggae scene is down there, you know. And when I went down there, I was amazed, you know, because you know Mexico City is a city of 22 million people, you know. So with that kind of multitude of people, you know, you're gonna have a lot of support for a lot of different genres, you know. And reggae is very well respected down there. They love roots reggae music down there, you know. So when I went down there, I was well received, and even though I didn't really sing anything in Spanish, the people knew, you know, that I was one of them, you know, and they showed me a lot of love, you know, and I've been going there like at least once a year, you know, every year since then, you know. So it's grown, you know. And so Mexico for sure, you know, because that's where I come from too, you know. And I think people have come to realize that, you know, that part of my story. So they're intrigued, and they like what I do, you know. We also went to Colombia in 2015 and got to experience, you know, the culture down there, you know, which down there is a more dancehall driven, you know, reggae scene. Like it's really pop, you know, like it's almost like pop, you know, because you can go down like the the party street, you know. Every city has like an area where there's a lot of clubs and stuff, and it's like almost every other club is playing like dancehall music, you know, and that really surprised me too. You know, when I went down there, you know, I went down to perform, but like we were doing mostly roots music, you know. So it was like, oh man, this is not gonna work. But the people showed a lot of love still, you know, and they stopped the party, they listened to the roots reggae music for a while, then they went back to the dance hall, you know.
Okay. Okay.
So Colombia was a good experience, you know, and I also saw like you know, like some love coming out of Colombia, you know. Down in Chile, you know, which is further south, I think Chile has a good roots reggae scene, you know, and I've done a few collaborations with several artists down there through the years, you know, and I think there's a good connection with them as well, you know. I'm hoping that I can get to go to Brazil one day. Um, and I know they have a huge reggae scene there, probably much larger than any of those other countries that I just mentioned, and I want to experience that, you know. And even though we speak a different language, I think, you know, I think reggae just crosses, you know, borders and languages, man.
It's interesting.
Yeah, man, because their scene is huge, man. You know, their scene is huge. The reggae scene is huge, you know. And it makes sense, you know, because it's like when you listen to reggae music, there's a certain aspect of reggae music that the sufferer is gonna understand, and is gonna say, yeah, I know that story, you know, I understand that struggle, you know. It's like this song sings my struggle, my story, you know. And that language is universal, you know. And I think that's why reggae music is what it is, you know, because you can go to any part of the world and they're gonna respect reggae music. You know what I mean? Party music, you know, that comes in all languages, you know. So I think dancehall, like some of the dancehall, maybe doesn't always cross over, but I think reggae consistently does, you know. And I think that's why. Maybe I'm wrong, you know, but that's kind of how I see it.
So you write you've written a lot of songs. Does writing come easy, like being a quiet place, or just things always running through your head? How do you come up with, how your creativity flow?
You know, sometimes I have very productive periods, you know, where I have a lot to say, you know, and then they come and go, you know. Like, for example, you know, like this year I've written a lot. I've written a lot of songs, you know, and I'm hoping that it doesn't stop because like this year I've written a lot, you know. We released a lot of music like right away, you know. Usually I take a while, you know, to sit on music for a while, but recently, you know, it's just been like, it just keeps coming, you know. It keeps coming, you know, and it hasn't always been like that.
This has been part 2 of our conversation with Sergeant Remo. We look forward to another final conversation with him next week on Blazin Reggae Vibes, episode 159. Remember, you can check out Sergeant Remo at his website, sergeantremo.com. sergeantremo.com. And until next time, you know, keep peace in your heart, spread the love, stay protected, be safe, and above all else, keep your vibes high. Remember where it all comes from, www.blazinreggaevibes. This is DJ EO bidding you peace.